Daniel Boone, Into the Wild, edited from Jennifer Kroll. The Woodsman. Daniel Boone was born in 1734 in Pennsylvania. Daniel hunted and trapped animals in the woods. He was an outdoorsman. Daniel was born in Virginia. This is his childhood home. Does this childhood home remind you of any other home we might have studied recently? Here's a fun fact. Did you know Daniel Boone did not like raccoon caps? Many people thought he did, and that's why we see a lot of the pictures of him wearing a raccoon cap. This is Daniel hunting when he was young. If you look out through the clearing, what do you think Daniel is hunting for? Daniel grew up and married Rebecca Bryan. They lived in Virginia. Virginia is on the east coast next to the Atlantic Ocean. Daniel had 10 children. Daniel earned money by hunting and trapping. This was his job, just like your parents have jobs and I have jobs, and this is his way that he earned money to take care of his family. Here's Daniel hunting. Look at the pictures. We have some clues in there. What season is it that Daniel's hunting in? The Boones lived near mountains. Few settlers had crossed the mountains to get to Kentucky. A settler is a person who moved from one area and settled in another area. The mountains were Shawnee Indian hunting lands. The Shawnee hunted buffalo there. Daniel hiked through a gap in the mountains. Here's a fun fact. Kentucky is a Shawnee word. It means place of fields. And here's Daniel in Kentucky. Daniel and some friends hunted in Kentucky. Daniel loved this wild place, but the Shawnee Indians caught the men. They took the men's furs and supplies. Furs were worth money. Furs Daniel might have hunted for and sold for coins. Daniel walked home with empty hands. Where is Daniel going? Where has he been? He's been in Kentucky and now he's going back to Virginia. But he longed to go back to Kentucky, and soon he did. He was hired to make a road to Kentucky. Others helped him, and this is Daniel and the others clearing a road through the wilderness. This map shows a path that Daniel cleared. So if we start here and we go down the road, we're starting here in Virginia. This is the Virginia state, and we go down the road. We cross right next to the Tennessee and the Kentucky border, and we stay in Kentucky, and then we end up, if I can get my mouse to move to the top, we end up all the way here in Louisville, Kentucky. So this is the path that Daniel cleared. And sometimes he has to go through gaps. So this shows a gap, which is a place where the mountains go very low and they can walk through it. And this is the Cumberland Gap right on the Tennessee and Kentucky border. And this is where the Cumberland Gap was that he had to go through when he made his road. Here's a fun fact. Daniel Boone's Wilderness Road was really just a path. It wasn't a highway that cars drove on like we think of. It was a path that they could only walk on. And this is Daniel leading the settlers on the Wilderness Road, and he's bringing his family to Kentucky this time. The Boones and other families followed the path. It was called the Wilderness Road. They built houses and a fort in Kentucky. They named their new place Boonesboro. And this is what Fort Boonesboro looked like. And if you look around, they've used houses on one edge to line it, and the other side they've built houses too, because you can see the chimneys, and then they have fences in between. You see the fences in between? And on the corners they have lookouts. Why do you think they would have had lookouts? What would they have been on the lookout for? Why would they have put fences between their houses, and why would they have lined the houses around the outside of their fort? This is trouble in Kentucky. Life in Kentucky was hard. One day Daniel's daughter Jemima was on a boat with friends. Shawnee braves stopped the boat. A brave is an Indian. They took the girls back to their camp. And here's a fun fact. The Shawnee lived in wigwams made of wooden bark. Look at this wigwam here. Where have we ever seen a house that looks similar to that? We just studied that. Who lived in a house that looked like that? And this is the Shawnees taking Jemima and her friends. Do the girls look scared? The girls could not get away, but they were smart. They were noisy and they left heel marks as they walked. Daniel and others tracked the girls for 2 days. To track someone is to follow the signs left behind. What were the girls' signs? And this is Shawnee Chief Tecumseh. He would have been the head of the Tecumseh. He would have been the head of the Shawnee Indians. Jemima said her father would come. She was right. Daniel found the Shawnee camp. He came crawling through the weeds. He took the girls safely away. And here's a fun fact. Jemima said the Shawnee were kind to her. Sometimes we read stories and it talks about how the Indians were mean to the white men. And Jemima said that these Indians were kind to her. Daniel saves Jemima. Later, the Shawnee caught Daniel. He needed to show them he was a friend. He agreed to join their tribe. He lived with them for 4 months. Then he ran away. Why would he agree to join their tribe? Why did he need to be their friend? What was the reason? What do you think? And then we have the Shawnee painting Daniel's face here. Here are the Shawnee preparing for battle. Going west. And we have Daniel, he's living in Kentucky now, so we're going to start here and we're going to go along his path, and it ends here in Independence. In 1799, Daniel and Rebecca moved west again. They went to Missouri. Independence is in Missouri. It's also right next to Kansas City. They lived there for many years. From there, Daniel took trips further west. Kansas City is here, and if we go straight down, we'll run into Oklahoma. Oklahoma would have been down here, where we live now. Here's a fun fact. Daniel walked as far as Florida and Colorado. He had long trips that he took walking, finding paths, and hunting. Daniel wanted to see everything. He went all the way to the Rocky Mountains, and these are the Rocky Mountains here, and they're in Colorado. Daniel felt at home in the wilderness. He had a long, rich life. His adventure finally came to an end when he died in 1820. And so here we have a line, and we have some little boxes with words in it. And so how can I put these events in order? Well, this is a timeline, and a timeline presents things in order. So here, what would have gone first? You might have started here. This would have gone first on our timeline that Daniel was born in Virginia. And then the next would have been that Daniel married Rebecca Boone. And then we have Daniel making a path through the mountains. And that's when after he made the path, he brought his family back, and then Daniel's daughter, Jemima, was captured, and the very last thing would have been Daniel traveled to Missouri. So these are all out of order, but we can put them in order, and that would have been Daniel Boone's life. So here we go. Daniel was born in Virginia. Daniel married Rebecca Boone. Daniel made a path through the mountains. Daniel's daughter Jemima is captured, and then Daniel travels to Missouri. So character traits that describe Daniel Boone. What character traits describe Daniel Boone? Well, he was curious. Curious means he's eager to know or learn something. Perseverance. Perseverance was not giving up even when something is difficult. Do you all have perseverance when you're doing your schoolwork, even when it's difficult? Leadership. This is the power or the ability to lead other people. Do you guys have leadership? Do you use leadership when you're trying to be a PAX example? Courageous. This is the ability to do something that is known to be difficult or dangerous. And last is creative, having or showing an ability to make new things or think of new ideas.